Hey everyone, this is PJ Ferguson, founder of the Peace on Earth movement, and my little buddy Cody. He's tagging along for today's Inner Peace podcast number 2. The topic for today's podcast is on loving again. I've kind of declared this month the month of love because all of the topics that I wanted to start out with have to do with loving yourself, loving other people, and spoiler alert, loving everything in general, and different ways to do that. So, today's topic, self-healing through self-love, because a lot of people who are seeking peace are actually seeking some healing. You may have experienced something terrible in your past. Maybe you're a difficult childhood. That's me. Uh, and that typical childhood just kind of grew up to be a difficult life. So people like us who grow up in those kind of situations, we seek peace. But that peace comes from healing the damage that was done in our past. And the most powerful way to do that is through loving yourself. So check out Inner Peace podcast number 1. That is the first one where we talk about loving yourself, if you haven't seen it already. And I wanted to start today's podcast with a couple more awesome quotes that I found. I love quotes because people who are smarter and more talented than me say it much better and pithier than I do. So the first one is by Ashke Dubé, and he said, "Healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means the damage no longer controls our lives." And I think that's a very important concept to remember, so hold on to that one. And the next one is by Mia Rose, and she says, "Love is a spiritual journey toward wholeness." And that's also another important thing to remember. So I want you to take both of those quotes as your first takeaways on today's podcast, that as you're healing and looking to love yourself, you're not looking to make your past go away. You're looking to reconcile what's happened in your life with, okay, how can those bad things happen to me, and yet I can still have peace and love in this world? Because a lot of times, at least this is how I grew up, we kind of identify bad things happen to bad people. And that's not the truth at all. Bad things happen to good people all the time. Pretty much always happening. Bad things always happening to good people. So let's start with wiping away that little myth. And the next thing is that love is a journey, and every step you take in your life, every moment, every day, is part of your journey of learning how to love yourself and practicing loving yourself in each moment, and doing it better and better as the moments go on, as the days go on. So, two great quotes to start off with. And again, like I said in the last podcast, loving yourself is going to be the most important thing you ever do in this lifetime. So that's why I want to start off the year 2018 and this month as the month of love, because we all know that we should love ourselves. And that's why I'm focusing on this topic again of loving yourself, is we all know that we should love ourselves. We all know that's what we're supposed to do. But it's pretty much the last thing we do. We put it off. We put it off because, like, oh yeah, I already know that. But we don't take it any further. So love is a journey. It's a practice. It's something that we need to do every single day and every single moment if we can do it. So I thought I'd share just a little story for myself. And really, it's the most pivotal, powerful moment of healing in my life and on my journey for healing and trying to learn how to love myself. And it basically started, to keep the story really short and simple because the details don't matter. But I was out and about in public, and this guy, he was actually being a creeper, but he just walked up to me and told me I was a bad person. And it just was the timing in my life, the right timing, the right situation. And I probably needed to hear that at that time in my life, as funny as that may sound. But I needed to hear it because I had this inner demon fighting inside me, holding me back from being who I felt I was, holding me back from healing and feeling that inner peace, that love, that joy that I had been seeking. And just being told that I was a bad person, I just kind of lost it. Like, I just started wandering in this haze, just wandering around the city for hours. And it took a few months, but what happened why that was such a pivotal healing moment for me is that all of the lies and untruths that just vicious, pernicious things I'd been told. I was bullied in school. I was bullied at home. I was bullied at church. At church, I was told I was a sinner. As a human being, I was pretty much destined for hell. As a gay guy, I was definitely destined for hell, and that God hated me. Pretty much no matter what I would do, that was going to be my future of burning in hell and pretty much hating my life and, wishing that God loved me, which is terrible. It's a terrible way to grow up, to be told you're unworthy, that you're no good. God hates you, and pretty much society hates you. This life can be really, really down on you. It can really tear you down. And so all those poisons had just built up and festered inside me. And when this guy told me that, you're a bad person, it just lanced that boil, and all that poison started to bleed and bleed and bleed. And, I went through several difficult months of just facing that. Fear is what it had all boiled down to, is that I feared that I was a bad person. I really was afraid that might be true. And no matter how good of a person I was, no matter how much I tried to keep the rules or please others, that fear, that demon was sitting down at the center of my heart, pulling on my strings and messing with my mind. And this was the perfect chance for me to let all that poison bleed out. And then I could face the truth. And I was like, the truth is, I'm not a bad person. At the very core of who I am, I'm a good person. But I couldn't see it because I'd been clouded in my mind and in my heart with all those terrible things that people had done or said to me all throughout my life. So I wanted to share that with you because this was the turning point in my life where I was truly able, like I had been taking baby steps along the way, but this is the point where I was truly able to start healing and to start loving myself and accepting myself just as I was. Again, I had done little bits all along the way, but this was the big turning point. Now, you may not have some giant demons or fears that just rule your life. Maybe you're already well along your path of healing. But if you're not, whether you are or not, this fact of needing to heal all throughout your life is, again, a journey, just like Mia Rose was saying, you're on this journey, and it's going to continue till your death. Maybe after that, I don't know. But the point is that you do it now. You do that healing now. If all you can take is those baby steps, great, take those. And to focus on loving yourself as the greatest tool, the greatest power you will ever have to do healing, both for yourself. And why I share this as part of the Inner Peace podcast and the Peace on Earth movement is that this world needs to heal in order to have that love and in order to have that peace. So in order for you to have peace, you need to heal. In order for the world to have peace, the world needs to heal. So let's start that healing process with you, with those around you. Hopefully they'll see the fruits of your efforts and self-healing and loving yourself, okay? Hopefully they'll see your life changing as a result of loving yourself. So, love is that power that allowed me to heal. It's going to be the power that allows you to heal, no matter how difficult the journey is, because once the healing began, it still was not an easy path. It wasn't an easy journey. It was still really difficult. It got easier, and it got easier. But that's by daily efforts and practice of loving myself, letting go of the past, letting go of the pain, and, having the strength to face my demons. Because, that's one of the takeaways that I have for you today is that love is the power that's going to give you the courage you need to be who you are in this very difficult world, to face your inner demons, which we all have, to love those demons, which we'll probably talk about in another Inner Peace podcast. And again, love is that power, it's that courage, it's that strength to walk that thorny path, to face those demons, and to live your life from the inside out. Whereas most of the time we get fooled into thinking reality is that outside world all around us. But that's not reality. That's just our reflection of reality. truth and reality comes from within, from the deepest part of our heart and our soul. Okay. So I got a couple interesting private comments from people after last week's Inner Peace podcast that again prompted this. Okay, we got to do January is the month of love, and we're going to talk about loving yourself one more time, especially in regards to healing, because a couple of the comments were that, oh, well, my friends and my family love me, and that's what healed me. And I absolutely would not be where I am today without my friends, without their love and the healing that that brought. My friends are the most wonderful, accepting, loving, giving, sharing people on the planet. And I'm the luckiest guy alive to have my friends. And my life has unfortunately taken me away from them and taken them away from me through different parts of our life. But every time we reconnect, that love is always there. It's not even a question. So the point I want to make about other people's love in regards to healing and helping heal is that the point of other people's love is that it can never ever replace the love that you have to give yourself. If you only rely on other people's love in order to do your healing, you're never going to fully heal, because what other people's love then becomes is just a crutch. And if you're always relying on crutches to, walk or to love yourself completely, well, then you never love yourself completely because you're always hobbling along. But if you love yourself, then you heal that appendage, you heal that part of yourself so that you can walk on your own 2 feet. That's why you see a lot of people who jump from one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next, because that other person took some place, some hole in their heart that needed filling, and once that person was gone, that hole was still there. So you have to really love yourself in order to completely heal your own heart and your soul. Now, yes, surround yourself with people who love you, but rather than using it as a crutch, build your own bridge of love. Okay, use their love as a bridge to build your own alongside it, so that if their love goes away or is no longer there for some reason, you then still have your own love upon which to rely. Okay, you will be healed, you will be whole because of the love you give yourself. Okay, so yes, other people's love, wonderful, get it, surround yourself with it by loving people, but never use it as a crutch. Never use it as an excuse to not do the work you need to do, which is to love yourself, face those demons, do that tough healing that can sometimes be very painful because you have to kind of open wounds from the past in order to heal them. Okay. And so I guess the last takeaway I want to give, because I want to wrap this up, I think you have the point, is that again, love is that power. It's the courage that you need in order to heal, because you will have to face those demons. You may have to make some major life changes. You may have to get rid of some people who are toxic to your life. You may have to set healthy boundaries for yourself and for other people who are, if you can't get rid of a toxic person in your life, you do need to set some healthy boundaries. And we will talk about healthy boundaries in another podcast for sure, because that's an important one. So again, love is that courage. Love is the journey. It's the path. You need that love in order to heal, and to not use others' love as a crutch, but as a bridge to build your own love. Okay. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about this whole topic. I'm sure you do. I'd love to hear your stories, your struggles. Please share them with us. And before we go, I'll leave you with a couple homework challenges, although I don't want to think of it as a challenge, but it's a little bit of homework that you can choose to do to start implementing this self-love and healing immediately. And the first part is going to be to ask yourself, what walls have you built around your heart in order to protect yourself? Because usually what we do when we're wounded, when we need healing, we tend to build walls around ourselves to protect us. But what that does is that keeps our love in, it keeps other people out, and we end up becoming prisoners to those walls that we've built. And then the second part to this homework is to ask yourself, how can I tear down these walls so that I can live free, so that my heart can be free and that I can love openly and freely, because love is what you give. It's not about getting or receiving. True love is the love that you feel within and that extends outward from you. So how can you tear down those walls? Well, the three most powerful ones that I could think of are forgiveness, gratitude, and compassion. So how can you use those tools to tear down walls around your heart, around your life, that you may have felt were keeping you safe, but maybe have been keeping you prisoner? And as I say that, and as I leave you, I will leave you with a final quote by Haruki Murakami, and if I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. But he said, "What happens when people open their hearts? They get better." So here's to wishing you peace, love, and joy. And this is PJ, and I'll see you next time on the next Inner Peace podcast.